We are live streaming, and so tell all of your friends. TAGSPodcast, Talk About Gay Sex, is live right now.
Speak up so everyone in the back can hear you.
All right, calm down, motherfucker. So we're live on our Facebook page, facebook.com/TAGSPodcast. I am so happy and grateful that you guys are all here tonight.
Thank you guys for coming.
It is World Pride, y'all.
Yeah!
It's the 50th anniversary of Stonewall.
Hey, God, 50 years.
My name is Steve Rodriguez. I host this show called TAGSPodcast, Talk About Gay Sex. We really go into it, naughtily and all that, and that's not a word, and I know that. And I'm sitting next to my co-host, Jeremy Ross Lopez.
Hi, guys.
And my other co-host, love him dearly, Steve Carpenter.
Hello.
Hi, guys. So for people that don't know, we are a weekly Tuesday podcast that comes out every single week. I love that today we're interpreting this episode. Hello, Susan. No worries. We're interpreting this episode for the hearing impaired. And make yourself comfortable over there, Susan. And we've got our hearing impaired. And I was so struck by the idea that you could take a podcast and make it for the hearing impaired. And because isn't that what Pride is about? Inclusion.
And Susan does every leather event too. All the leather events.
Yes, right.
Awesome.
So, you guys, happy World Pride. And like I said, we do this weekly show. If you guys aren't up to speed, we're going to get you up to speed. Recently, we've been talking about PrEP a lot. And for those of you who don't know, PrEP has been shown. We've got a lot of flack. We're at this really, I feel, tipping point with our show right now, where we're getting people from around the world messaging us, and it's really kind of cool, but we get a lot of flack for it, too, when we're wrong. And I just wanted to come out today to say that I'm officially on PrEP.
Yay. Good job, Steven.
Yeah, I don't know if that's appropriate,
This is a
inappropriate.
prop from us. This is a prop from Party City.
But my good friend Rob is in the audience today, and he was really, we talk so much openly about our sexuality, and it really took a conversation with him. And you are what you speak. I mean, really, so I'm good with it. Rob and I were at the Folsom East Street Fair the other day. It's not like San Francisco, y'all, but it's really
It's the G-rated version, as someone else told me.
It's the G-rated, yes, exactly. But for those of you who don't know right now, meningitis is back on the rise. And just not to be a downer right now, but they were offering free vaccines, and so I got that, as well as my hepatitis B, and Steve Carpenter and I got our HPV vaccinations with Dr. Goldstein.
We did a series of 3 shots.
I know. I feel like we're vaccinated
Yeah,
up.
I know. And
You're good to go.
Exactly. So that's my Pride story on this World Pride Day to kick off. But Jeremy, every year we ask this question, what does Pride mean to you? But this is a very particular, interesting Pride. It's World Pride. Any thoughts on what it means to you?
For me, the meaning is very important and special because in August of this summer, it will mark 10 years that I've lived in New York. So for me, World Pride, celebrating with everybody from all different places coming here to join together, all of our community, it's super special, and it's awesome to spend it with family, friends, whoever you have around. Anyone becomes your family and friend on Pride. And then in New York, of course, you'll just make so many new friends on Pride. So that's what it means to me, and I'm excited for it.
Awesome. I love that. Carpenter, any thoughts on this World Pride?
Oh, I've got tons of thoughts, of course.
Yeah, I know you do. I know. Let's see.
Well, I mean, I grew up in the Detroit area, and we got some Detroit boys here tonight.
Yes!
Shout out to the Detroit boys.
Some of our listeners, actually.
Yeah, they listen to us all the time. I left Detroit as soon as I figured out where I was. Kidding, I'm kidding. No, I've been here forever. I mean, I remember the 25th anniversary of Stonewall in New York, which was fun. For me, it's it's bittersweet. I'm still here, whereas so many of my friends are not. So it's bittersweet in that sense. But I carry them with me in my heart. I have made so many new friends, and the fact that I'm still here, and I've got all these wonderful friends, and I'm doing this fabulous podcast. I'm very thankful. I'm thankful, and I'm thankful for where things are and where the gay movement has gone. So,
I love that. Thank you, Carbon.
Sure.
And what would you say it means to you?
It
your
means
turn, girl.
So much. I mean, a lot of it had to do with taking that turning point, and we talked so much about Truvada and PrEP, and I'm of the 90s era where condoms, I just got used to that whole thing, and I like my cocktail, so I know like this drug works with your liver. Anyways, I was in a mess about it, but so for me, it's kind of like, wow,
it's a big
here
deal.
I am. We'll see how I do. And if you listen to our show, Talk About Gay Sex, TAGSPodcast every week, we are brutally honest, and we have opinions to say.
Yeah.
And people write in and when they like us and when they don't like us.
Right.
So, but we try and get it right, and we do.
Try and get it
Press is
right,
good
and,
press, so-
and people will call in or they will write in. We really are.
Exactly. And just so you know, normally the show's a conversation. We sit around this apartment actually with wine, and we're very like conversational, and we have no one's watching us. So when we do these live ones and we're developing it for a TV show, my sister's my producing partner, and she's over here, and she means the world to me.
Woo. Hey, Vivian.
And we really think that the show has some legs, so stay tuned for that. But I wanted to, on this World Pride, I want to go throughout the night. We have some special guests. We have some giveaways that you're going to really like. But we have some great quotes.
Yeah,
And
so
Jeremy-
I'm going to start with one. It goes like this. We the people declare today that the most evident of truths, that all of us are created equal, is the star that guides us still. Just as it guided our forebears through Seneca Falls and Selma and Stonewall, from Barack Obama.
Barack Obama, y'all. Frank Pond and maybe Christine, I know you may have been at the White House when he invited you all there, and that was pretty monumental. So kudos to that. Let's bring out our first guest. Susan, tell me if we're going too fast.
She's doing just fine.
So let me just preface our first guest. Our first guest wrote a book recently, and I remember him when I didn't live. I've lived here for 12 years in New York, and when I didn't live here before, I would go to this bar that was called G Lounge. And the owner of that bar, Michael McGrail, is in the audience, and
Woo!
He has given us such an opportunity.
Yes, he has.
And G Lounge, for people that don't know, was the hot, yay spot that you wanted to see and be seen at all throughout the late 90s into 2000s. And I would come into the city, and I would remember this guy. His name was Achilles. How can't you remember a name Achilles? And I had a huge crush on him, and we will put him on the spot in a second. But he wrote this tell-all book about, it's a memoir, and it's called Raised by the Bar. And Achilles Yeldell, come up here, because I want you to talk about your new book. This is it.
Come sit next to me, girl.
Talk really close into that mic like it's you know what. And just saying. Yeah. Hi.
Hello. Thank you for having me here. Yes.
Of course.
So I have to say something like, I don't know if you remember, I'm just going to put you on the spot, but we did go on a date.
Yes,
once.
we did. I was
And
telling Corey about that.
And I totally was waiting and we've been talking, and I haven't mentioned that. I know it was going to be awkward, but that's what I do. And yeah, do you remember I met your Basset Hound?
Yes, I had a Basset Hound, Apollo, and we were, it was in Hell's Kitchen. I think it was on 9th Avenue, the restaurant.
I know, not
we were
that
at.
memorable, but for me, for you.
No,
I
remember
for me. Memorable for me.
No, I do remember it, yes.
Anyways, congratulations on this book.
No, okay, now that he made that face, let me go ahead and just explain that when we went on the date, it was very, it was interesting to me because Steve and I, we really hit it off from the get-go.
We did.
And we were just talking, whatever. The date was great. The conversation was great. But to me, it felt like I was on a date with myself. I thought we were just so similar. And I was like, I really like this guy and so forth. I guess like we could have easily been raised like a year apart in the same household or whatever.
Oh my God, how long did you rehearse that answer? Because that's like perfection. I love it. Just stop right now.
It really was how I felt. So it's one of those things where it's like, oh, wow, he's really nice. I want to be friends. But then I think we can all relate to where you meet someone that you don't, in terms of like, let's say the chemistry, sexual chemistry, whatever, it might not be there, but you want it to be there.
Yeah.
Okay? Just like on the flip side, where sometimes you feel a sexual chemistry that
you
know
don't want
should
it
not
to
be
be
there.
Yeah.
But it's there.
That's true.
And that's why, to me, I always felt that chemistry was something that you can't, as much as we might try to create it, to make it happen, or sometimes you try to deny it. You're with someone who is safe and secure and nice, and yet then you meet someone else who's like, my God, this is like so amazing. And so it was just kind of went that way. So that's why I think our friendship has endured. But
And guys, don't worry, you didn't read it. I'm going to make you read it. But so I'll ask these questions. But Achilles, this is really a page turner, and I'm not Mr. Reader here. I was like devouring it. But part of it, we'll get into your coming out story. But in general, it seems like you're looking for love from coming out period into as of recent, and there's so many beautiful stories that are about that.
Well, then
Can you talk about that?
I would say, in 1995, I think is when it takes off. And as far as like, I'm 46 now, so I know that I was 21 when I came out of the closet.
Miami.
Yeah, in Miami. And for those who don't know, in that year in Miami, there was no gay pride parade. There was no gay community center.
Wow.
Ellen still hadn't come out of the closet. There was nothing that was gay. The one thing that was the tipping stone for me, seeing something that was gay, was actually Tom Hanks and Antonio Banderas in the movie Philadelphia. Tom Hanks with his A's and so forth, and he was like doing his thing. But they slow danced in his living room in this one scene in the movie, and I just saw these two men being romantic. That was my takeaway. The movie obviously had a lot of other stuff going on.
Yeah.
But my takeaway was like, wow, two men can be together, these two movie stars and so forth. So
Got to fix it. There you go.
okay, so for me, I just really didn't realize until I saw that what was possible. So once I saw that was possible, that's where the book kind of launches off, and I thought that I was going to
Explode?
I thought that I was going to go to a club and find my husband right off the bat. Yes, that's what I thought.
So
was
you
gonna
guys,
happen,
the
yes.
book is hilarious. I won't go into all the details, but it's really hilarious and telling. And I just would want to ask you, how did you have a moment that you decided how vulnerable you wanted to be? And because I know you've been trying to write different things, and knowing that you're going to see people, what does that do to your mind and all that?
Okay, so there was the book took longer than I thought because there was different versions of it. The first version of this book was very Sex in the City, scandals, and like all of this kind of stuff. And I think it would have sold a lot better if I went with that version. But I didn't feel like I could stand behind it. I felt like some of the people who were in the book, they would see themselves, even if no one else saw them, knew that it was them because I changed the names and stuff, that they would somehow feel embarrassed by it, or they might see people posting stuff about, oh, that person was of this. And I was like, I don't want anyone to read the book and feel embarrassed for having had whatever interaction they had with me. So that also changed the version of it. So I went from the standpoint of, what do I wish I knew before coming out into the gay scene? So because I had my own ideas, and I feel like when it comes to sex, as a great example, like when you're going to go ahead and have sex, gay sex was never really explained to me. I didn't know what it was. And
Yeah, we didn't get that novel, that book, right?
Yeah, and I know
Yeah,
that
they
there's
didn't
no
cover that.
manual to it.
They didn't have Pornhub?
I do believe that every gay man, I think a lot of people just in general, whether they're straight, gay, whatever, but for a lot of gay men, they go into the gay scene, into gay sex with this list of, I'm not going to do this, I won't do that, I won't do this unless he does it first. You have all these like rules in your head.
Yeah.
But then when you meet a guy, which later on in the chapter, like, for a very long time, I was like, I'm not going to bottom until I'm in love. Yeah, which is, it's all right. And I said that when I was 21, and that lasted until I was 30. Thank you very much. But then
wow.
what happened? I was 30. I fell in love. but I didn't know how to bottom. And I was like, I'm not going to be any good at it, so he's not going to want me. So I was like, what would it...
Now what do I do?
Exactly. So who's going to show me at that late age? By that point, I was already a bartender at G Lounge. It's like the idea of a G Lounge bartender not knowing how to bottom. I was like, I just don't think, how am I going to be sexy when I'm doing it?
I'm sure some of those go-go's could help you find out.
You know, the go-go's are people too. They all have their own.
So here's a question for you. Throughout the years, I mean, we all have our crushes on bartenders when we go out. I certainly do. My friends will attest that Steve and a bartender. But what
God.
I know you talk a lot about it in the book, but just to give our audience a little bit of perspective on what are you thinking when someone's coming on to you and they're...
Well, okay, so before I was ever a bartender, I went to a bar that I won't name called Barracuda. And
we're not editing this either.
I went there.
It's live.
And I was on my own, and there was a bartender there who I thought was really cute. And I thought there was a chemistry there, chatting and talking, whatever, so forth. And, you know, I was tipping him all this money to show him how much I really liked him.
And he's like,
I know you waste a lot of money, right?
Real romantic. So I was like complete trash. So then I was like, well, I'm getting a little messy, so let me go ahead and leave. And then I'll come back later. Because he said, well, just come get me when I get off of work.
Yeah.
So I left, and when I went back, I remember I was knocking at the door. Barracuda, of course, had closed a little early. And I was telling the guy, no, he wants to see me. And I saw through the crack of the door when somebody went to tell the bartender, I saw him saying, like, no, I want nothing to do with this guy.
Aww.
So in my drunken stupor, I was able to really remember that particular piece of information.
Aww.
So I always told myself, once I became a bartender years later, I said, I will not lead somebody on just so that I can make tips. I won't do it. Now, my wonderful old former boss who's here in the audience, he was all, you know, sex sells, blah, blah, blah. That's all fine and well. But it was like, I didn't like the fact that some people's feelings can legitimately be hurt by that. So
they do. They hurt really bad.
And they can hurt. So now, did I lie? Absolutely. People say, oh, so do you have a boyfriend? And I would say, yes, I have a boyfriend if I was not interested in them. But then I would say, but you know, you're so adorable. If I didn't have a boyfriend, you know, I totally would, you know, so they can walk away feeling better. I feel like people don't go to the bar just for sex. I think people go to a bar so that they can feel better. And now sex is an easy way to go. Yes, sex sells, but it's not the only thing that sells.
That's
so
true.
I felt like if you go to the bar and you make a really good friend, which is way more valuable than any trick, in my opinion, then you walk away feeling better. So
When's the follow-up self-help book coming out? Because I'm like all about it. I am on board.
Well, I would have loved
Oprah.
a gay self-help book kind of a thing.
I'm telling you, I will produce it. I will help produce it.
Yes,
That's your next book,
In
How to Be a
the
Bottom.
book, it shows how I tried to be a good bottom. It's pretty embarrassing. But I felt that it was important to talk about things that I wished someone had spoken to me about. I did not expect as many people to read the book as who have read the book. I live in Quakertown, Pennsylvania, and they've been reading that book plenty, and I was not prepared for that very Christian community to...
And Achilles,
Very
thank you so
Christian
much for
community
coming
was
out.
reading your book.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
They just really liked me, but they weren't expecting.
Oh, and he wrote a
that.
book too, and then their eyebrows are going.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, before we let you go, and everybody needs to read Raised by the Bar, a memoir by Achilles Yeldell. It's on our site. You can get it on Amazon.
Thank you.
It's a great summer read. It's really fun. But for this World Pride, what would you want to tell, younger folks or anybody really? What's your message?
My message would be really for all the generations. You know, when I was in college, I did a report on Stonewall. We had to do an event or whatever, and in Miami back then, being gay was not really something that they talked about much, but. I did report on Stonewall, and I think that a lot of gay people don't realize, the LGBT community, what they don't realize is that back when that riot happened, it was against the law to be dancing with somebody of the same sex.
Yeah.
Wow.
So when the cops would break in on their random raids, you know, these gay men would have to switch up with like the lesbians to just pretend that they were dancing with that one.
Oh,
that there are
Lord.
so many things that we take for granted now that people had to really,
Yeah.
really fight to go ahead and be able to do. The fact that people say, oh, this bar is tired. The fact that you have a bar and that you
Thank
can
you.
choose from so many different
Yeah.
bars can really go ahead and the fact that we benefit from it, but to at least take that one day out of the year to really go ahead and be grateful
No,
for
that's
that.
that's awesome.
Thank
That's
you
really
so
awesome.
much. Yeah. Achilles Yeldell, the book is called Raised by
thank
the
you.
Bar. Thank you. Love you. Thank you, babe. All right, so we've got a second quote. Well, actually, we've got a giveaway, and we've got some amazing people here. But before I go on, this August, I am actually going on a new cruise line that's going to give. There's another cruise line, gay cruise line that we all know of. We're not going to say the name, but there's a newer one called Vacaya, like vacation, Vacaya. I love the name. And it's the current one is departing here in New York City and going to P-Town for Carnival, and I'm on it with my friend Frank. I'm so excited to go. My friend Tracy's here, who's is his company, and Christine Chenoweth is going to be on it. And there's got like so many great people, DJ Corey Craig and Cunningham and a lot of people. Anyways, but they're going to be doing a lot of new cruises that I think it's time to give a little twist to it all. So Vacaya Cruise, if you can join me, that would be great. And Steve Carpenter, would you read our second quote of the night on this gay pride?
I can try. Okay, second quote. Share what you know with someone you don't agree with. Think about that.
Try it.
Okay, try it. Get outside of your comfort zone. Let's try to be more forgiving. Maybe we will find, sorry, the highlighter is,
An opening.
Sorry.
maybe we'll find an opening to let the light come in.
Let's close the.
Here, finish
I'll read it. Let's close up the distance between one human being and another. Are you ready to do that? And that was by Madonna, y'all.
Oh.
And we love our Madonna.
You didn't tell me I needed my glasses tonight.
sorry. Yeah, that was by Madonna. So let's bring up our second guest. He has drawn me. He's drawn another guest that's in the audience. He's really big around the world. Miguel Angel Reyes.
Woo!
Hi.
Hello. How's everybody doing?
And LA Magazine, our good friend Frank Al, and Christina Al sent me this. And I love Al because I have this newfound friendship with an 83-year-old, and I want to write a play about it because it's really special. But he sent me this, and I opened it up, and you're in here as one of they're calling it the art stars. And I met you years ago. We've worked together. You've drawn me. I'll show the picture in a minute. But there was something that I was reading about your bio before you talk about your art that is very resonates with what's going on. And you talk about as a child, and I don't have the quote up right now, but essentially you were saying as a kid you grew up in Colima?
No, I was actually born in Colima, which is in central Mexico. The closest thing you can think about is Puerto Vallarta. It's close enough to that. Is the state next to it. But I didn't grow up there. I grew up in Tijuana and in San Diego later on when we first immigrated. And I've been in LA for 34 years since I went to college.
But there was something you read on your website on the bio that I read about that you vividly remember before you had migrated to the States of hearing footsteps on your front porch. If you could just talk about that, which is so relevant.
This is what it is in Tijuana, when I was a kid from age, let's say, 7 to about 10 years old, we lived a block and a half away from the borderline. So we would see people crossing our street all the time. Families, caravans of people.
How do you call it?
La línea, yes, la línea. We used to call it el otro lado, the other side. That's what we called it. We never called it the U.S. or San Diego, el otro lado. And so for a long time, we would see families crossing, or my father would always have people stop over, or relatives from my mother's side, my dad's side. They would all stay with us before they crossed the border. And later on, we grew up in San Isidro from age 10 to 19, and we had the same situation. We had people crossing over, family members who would cross and stay at our place, or people would hide behind our apartment all the time. And it was really a good hiding area for everybody to cross. Wow. So we had that. Wow. But the vivid memory that I had of a relative was that she crossed the border, and it was a rainy season, so she came out all with mud all the way up to her neck.
Oh my God.
Her and the other person who crossed her over. Yeah, that's a vivid memory.
Thank you for sharing that.
Wow.
But your work, your art, I've been the subject of it and
Twice.
And this is a recent one, or fairly recent
2 years ago.
one. And the reason, the way that Miguel works, at least how we work, it was in this living room,
Yes.
and you literally take a picture of me and you sketch out on like marker pens just the silhouette, and you go home and you fill it all in, and I'm like, this really looks like me, and it's crazy.
Well, what I
Yeah.
do is I like to do a quick sketch of the model. And I always want to have the model to be very comfortable, so it's up to them to be...
Alcohol.
No. No drinking, no drugs, nothing involved like that. I always ask, before they come over, they know they're going to be either going to be nude, or they're going to have implied nudity, or they're going to be in a bathing suit or jockstrap, or it's going to be sensual, or it's going to be triple X, and have all those situations happen. And also, if they want to pose with another model, whether it be romantic or actually having sex.
Ooh.
So that's another option for those out there who are ready.
Juicy.
It is. That's how I get my kicks. I really don't have a lot of sex myself, but I do like to see other people have sex
And draw it.
and draw it.
Draw it.
And yeah,
So we don't really need to ask where your inspiration comes from.
for my lower half. From the two heads.
But giving it that it's
awesome.
World Pride, I mean, did you have a period that you had to think about, like, wow, the style of art that I like to produce is pretty erotic out there? Given my I don't know what your background was, but did you have a moment when you tipped over and said, I'm just going to do the work that I want to produce?
I always wanted just to draw people, portraits and figures, but this is only part of my work. I also do commission work, and I've done murals for the city, Los Angeles.
LACMA?
No, not LACMA. No.
Okay.
No, I've done
was
just
reading that.
just murals in general throughout the city, like 4 or 5 of them. I did an AIDS mural back about 15, 20 years ago in Lincoln Park, which is just north of Los Angeles. And that was like a big, they looked for all the Latino artists in the city, and then they picked a few people. The last mural that I did just recently was it was a mural next to Olvera Street, which is the oldest part of the Los Angeles, and it's a new project called the Plaza Village, and they wanted the museum next to it is a Latino museum, a Mexican museum. They wanted an inspirational mural for the Latino community. So I eventually did a mural about immigrants, and I actually got to use my whole family in it, and they were the characters. So they wanted to
that's
do
awesome.
how they started. They said one of the characters was the healer, which is the grandmother, then the nurse, and then the doctor. So it was like 3 generations progressing in a traditional way, I mean, nothing has happened like that in my family, but it's pretty close. My mother was a curandera when she was an apprentice to a curandera when she was a kid.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So, yeah, she did that.
And on this gay World Pride, you're here in New York.
Yes.
Any thoughts that you want to share with, like, what do you...
Well, I love coming to New York. It is my place that I come once a year to just draw. But also, I'm also a photographer, so I like to take pictures of everywhere I go. Photographs everywhere, document everything that I see. And I actually was at the Folsom East, and I took a lot of pictures, and then I'm going to be at the parade and hopefully at the Pride Island. So, and I love it. It's a seeing different kinds of people from everywhere is fantastic.
I love it. When we've known
Great.
each other and you've shot me for years and years, I love it. People can follow you at what?
I only do Facebook. I'm an old person. So no, actually, I don't.
Who?
I actually have one picture on my Instagram, one photo only, but I have like 200 tags from other people who have drawn, so they tag me there. That's the only reason why I have it.
So people can tag you.
See, people can tag me. That's about it.
Thank you so much, Miguel.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So we have some really cool giveaways, and we thought it would be fun to do like some trivia. And Jeremy, do you want to? So how we're gonna do it?
Yeah,
tell
we're
'em.
gonna. So I'm gonna read the question. Whoever raises their hand first, respectably, will be picked on, and then if you have the right answer, you'll get the prize.
They'll be picked on?
Yeah.
We'll select them, bitch.
You get picked
You
on
know
if
what
you
I
don't know it
mean.
correctly.
You know what I mean.
All right, so here's
whatever.
our first question.
Anyways, so when was the first gay and lesbian march on Washington? You in the back. Kind of close, but no.
The one in Washington, D.C. No.
Anybody else? Gregory, you were probably there. Oh, I'm going to pay for that.
Okay, so we picked it and nobody knows the fucking answer.
Okay. We'll check that, Mike, but I think it's 1965, and it's the one in front of the White House.
You're talking about 30 guys marching in front of the White House, yes.
Yeah, that was pivotal. Yeah, that one. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Okay, so ask this next one.
In what year did the American Psychological Association remove homosexuality from its list of mental disorders?
Ah.
What state? What state?
No.
No,
sorry.
no.
Sorry. What year?
So you got the year completely right, and by who? Which MD?
Oh, that's the bonus.
that's okay.
That's a bonus.
That was, so, come up here. Can you hand
These
him
are
a
tough.
bag? And so you're getting.
I didn't make the questions.
He's actually Mike, and can you hand him a bag? This
for
film,
you.
he had to leave earlier, but there's a film called Cherry Grove Stories. It's on all platforms right now, and it's a really good about Cherry Grove and how in the inception. And he was here earlier, and
he was here
you were in
earlier,
this
yeah.
as well.
It's a great film.
Absolutely.
It really is.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah. And
I can read these. They're no.
okay.
there's no
So
highlighter on them.
John E. Fryer, just FYI, was the guy that was really responsible for
John
taking
Ursel Fryer.
taking it off the American Psychological Association from removing homosexuality, which is kind of cool. FYI. Let's do one more before we bring on our other guest, Carpenter.
Yeah.
What was the first state to outlaw discrimination based on sexual orientation?
Oh, God.
Anybody? Bueller?
I was stumped
Bueller?
when I heard this.
Bueller?
I was stumped.
It's
So read it again. What was the first state?
what was the first state to outlaw discrimination based on sexual orientation?
Oh my God!
Oh, she got it.
Wisconsin.
All right. Do you want to read that little tidbit thing that's on there?
Wisconsin outlawed this kind of discrimination in
Hey, listen up about
1982.
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin outlawed this kind of discrimination in 1982. Since then, the following states have joined Wisconsin as of March 2002: California, Connecticut, Hawaii, Massachusetts, Minnesota, New Jersey, Rhode Island, and Vermont.
That's for you.
You win it.
You better use it. You better use it.
I think there's lube in there.
Yeah, so one of our current sponsors, one of our current sponsors is Promescent, and Promescent works with premature ejaculation, and it is a real thing. But for our community, it can also mean lasting longer at that party, and so they have just saying,
Yeah,
they have
hello.
a climax control spray that they introduced by the Food and Drug Administration, and they have a really good lube. The one you got is the silicone-based lube, and it's really good. I tried it out.
Yay!
So there you go.
Please wait to use it when you get home. Please don't try it here. Someone's saying no. No. Yeah.
So moving on.
Her
one of our-
daughter is saying no.
It's time to bring up our third guest, but I want to shout out to DJ Dog, who I love. He spins at the Eagle on Wednesday nights for Jockstrap Night.
Woo!
He's one of my favorite. Spins such great music. He's with the New York Cap over there. And thank you all for coming and really supporting. It means a lot to us.
Yes.
We really love it. So I want to bring up our third guest, and Amelia in the back. Thank you so much for coming with your fierce self. Our next guest is a DJ that, if you become a Patreon member, we've gotten to a level now where we've really reached a tipping point, which is kind of cool.
Yes.
And we have a Patreon page, and all that means is that we have a separate site that if you like us, you really like us, and
They
you
really
pay.
like us.
You really like us.
They really like us.
And you
Yes.
get extra special, sexy perks. And
Yes.
one of the perks that we have is called this Dark and Dirty.
Dark and Dirty.
It's an after show where we keep the reels moving, and we go a little bit darker and a little bit dirtier on our
A little more
sexcapades.
specific and graphic.
Exactly. And we're not as kind, and we're just a little bit more
we're
out
not
there.
kind at all.
No. And and the music, music is everything. And the music that leads into that is by a DJ Lorant. And if you'd come up here, he created this music, which I love, by the Illustrious Blacks. Help me get that name right. You tell the name of the song that is our Dark and Dirty After Show theme.
Illusions of Grandeur by Laurent featuring the Illustrious Blacks.
And you're Laurent, yes.
I love it.
Welcome. Happy Pride.
Thanks for having me again.
Absolutely. One of the reasons.
Is the positioning good?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's good. Lighting, yep. I'm into it.
Key lights?
Yep. Key light, we're good.
All right.
Yeah, I like it. So one of the reasons I wanted to have you back was that you spin dark and dirty music. And if you just talk about your style of music for people that don't know.
I describe my music as deep techno, and I think it just helps people fuck better. and I do all these parties that are like late night parties that men come to meet each other, and I think it just
Thank you.
Yeah.
it's the music for that.
So it sets the mood.
It sets the mood.
You have a current music video. I went to the music release of that. It's a super sexy song.
The Red Dark.
The Red Dark, and you didn't give me the okay, so
No,
I think
yeah,
I can
yeah.
talk
No,
about
go-
it.
go ahead.
But it's a super sexy video. It's posted on our website about a guy that's going out in the night, and he's looking for that. It's a little BDSM related, and he's looking for that perfect, interesting
one person.
that one person.
Yeah, he
And
sees that he goes through a lot that night.
He
before
goes through that.
meets
It's super
person.
sexy, and I love it. Shot a little bit at Nowhere Bar and Rock Bar.
Yeah, Nowhere Bar was the interiors, and the Rock Bar was like the exteriors. Yeah.
My question, though,
Cinema
I asked you,
magic.
though, you said that it
Cinema,
was
yeah.
inspired by your current boyfriend and how you met. So,
Well, the ending of the video is inspired by how I met my current boyfriend. And the rest of the video is inspired by, since I do all these late night parties, I find myself in literally red lights covered in smoke. And so it's this guy's journey through the smoke and red lights until he meets his boyfriend.
it's so hot. I love it. I
Yeah,
love
yeah.
it.
Yeah, it was
And
a bunch
where-
of- yeah, go ahead.
Where can we see this?
You can see it on YouTube. It's on my YouTube channel, Royal Advisor Records. That's on my YouTube channel, and yeah, it's on YouTube.
I love it.
Nice.
Thank you. And
Thank you.
one of the things we do on our show is we talk about, you've heard of hot topics. We do hot gay sex topics. And tonight is no different from any other. And I know I sent you, Carpenter, earlier.
Yeah.
And there's a current story out, and I want to bring you in, Laurent, about a retired priest who reinvented himself as a gay adult film star at the age of at the age of 83. He's already shot 4 porn gay videos, and he's going strong.
And there's an interview with him where he talks about it, and it's really interesting.
He said his housemate got him into it, and I just, in this current
housemate?
age of what's that?
His housemate got him into it.
His housemate got him
That's
into it. He
amazing.
was retired. I didn't know you could retire from the
Priesthood.
priesthood. Apparently you can. And he's all about it. And part of me is like horrified. Part of me is like, you go.
Yeah.
Because of ageism.
Do it up.
Ageism in general. And at 83, I'm always been about, just look at me, like I'm 48 and everyone's always like, what is going on with him? And I'm like, yeah, I have braids, y'all.
This is the
and
moment.
And
just
this
get
pink.
over it and move on. Like, just, my mom has gotten used to it. So my 82-year-old mom has gotten used to it. So
She has.
at 83 to be able to do that, and
Yeah.
what do you guys think about that? I mean,
I love it.
I think it's awesome. It just, sexuality doesn't stop at a certain age necessarily. I've known several older people, and that are still out there. They're still out there going for it, and it's like, good for you. Good for you. So
Well, I think never too old to start having fun, right?
That's true.
Exactly.
exactly.
You can always better yourself,
Very true.
even if you are going to be a porn star.
One of the
From
things that's
priest to porn star. I mean, that sounds like a good title, doesn't it? From
It
priest to
does.
porn star.
well, my mind couldn't help but go there with all pedophilia going on. There were no stories of this person showing that he had a history of pedophilia. So it's like he served his time, if you will, clean,
So to speak.
and now he's done.
So it's like from the altar to the sling. Kind of thing.
Oh, I like that.
That's the name of my
Exactly.
biography.
His new movie. Like,
Altar
From the altar to the sling. That's okay.
Yeah.
I like
like
that.
oh, and
I
I
wanna
grew
see
up.
that.
I
film.
want royalties when he does that.
I grew up. I grew up in that Catholic church. My sister did too. She can attest to it. And I have horror stories and on and on, whatever. But I just think, wow, this is kind of cool that to reinvent yourself, if nothing else, right?
Especially on, when we're having World Pride, so
Yeah.
just do it all up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Oh, can we have you read our current quote for
Yeah, of course.
a new one? This one right here.
This last one?
Green.
Yes.
This one?
Yes.
Apparently,
the
glasses
green's hard
were
to see.
We
Apparently.
should indeed keep calm in the face of difference and live our lives in a stage of inclusion and wonder at the diversity of humanity. George Takei.
Amen.
Decay, yeah, and it's decay, right?
Decay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Yes, you got it right. Thank you so much, and people can follow you where?
People can follow me on Instagram. It's DJ_LORANT. And that's just my favorite medium of social media. So that's all.
And that's where we can hear about your parties.
Instagram.
Your
yeah.
red parties.
Yeah, my red
Okay.
parties.
Your
And
red
also,
parties.
if you listen to SoundCloud, it's DJ LORANT on SoundCloud.
Okay.
Awesome.
Cool.
Thank you.
I love
Great.
it.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
GoFundMe.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So, Steve Carpenter, we've been doing this now for 2 years, and we're friends. We hang out, and we'll all send each other stories that are making the news that we think we should talk about. And there's one right now about.
yeah.
I think, before I just wanted to
Yeah, go ahead.
preface it, I think when we think it's 2019 and wow, like it should be so easy to come out and gay,
Progressive.
there's so many stories right now that it's not. And there's one right now. Did you want to?
Yeah. So actually, I heard this from Bruce Beckham, who has been on our show a couple of times. This was actually on his Instagram, and I looked it up, and it was really kind of shocking for this day and age. So this young man, came out to his family, and thinking the mother was great with it, the brothers and sisters, yeah, we know. The father, nothing to do with him, doesn't want anything to do with him, and he's like, well, I don't know how you're going to college next year because I'm not paying for it. So yeah, I know. Wow, just that's.
And they were divorced, right? The mom.
Yeah, they're
and-
divorced, but still, this is his father, and so they put up a GoFundMe page, and the amount of money that's been going in, people have been donating, $20, $25, $50, whatever, and he's already got like almost $8,000, something like that, and he put up a video today that was just, a thank you video, and he's just overwhelmed at the community that has come together and just said, we get it, we understand, we're going to help, So just little amounts of people that have, that people have been able to donate is really making a big difference. And this guy is just, very overwhelmed at the, the welcoming and the warmth from the gay community. And it's just, it was just really, it's really nice to see. And something around, especially right now around Gay Pride, when you hear of things like that, it's so nice to see somebody, who it doesn't, it has a family member or whomever that rejects them, and then to turn around and be completely embraced
And
by
find
the,
support in a
by the
different
gay
way.
community.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And one of the things I was struck by was that he was shy on how much he really wanted to put out there. In other words, his tuition is very high.
Right.
He actually was a little bit lower on the amount because he's going to work and he has other scholarships that are coming in, and he didn't want it to be all about like getting all this money.
Well, and he
I
didn't
thought that
really
was-
want to. He didn't really want to put up a GoFundMe page.
At
He was
all.
like, no. He says, I don't want to ask for that kind of help, but he really wants this college. He wants to go to this school. He's already been accepted, and just this whole thing of just the funding was the issue. So so there's a link. We'll put it on the webpage.
Yes, we will put it on our
The
site.
TAGSPodcast webpage. So if you can throw him a couple of dollars, that would be great. And I'm sure he'll appreciate it. So his name is James M. He's not giving his last name, which is too bad because I'd really like to find out who his father is and send him an email.
Of course.
So.
I think everybody would at this point.
So.
Well, before we go, we want to we have a few more giveaways and some fun trivia. Jeremy, do you want to read the next one?
Yes. So
just raise your hand if you know the answer.
the next one is, which president made it illegal for the U.S. government to employ homosexuals?
So what president made it illegal to hire, like you cannot hire any homosexuals? It's a go-to.
Christine's raising her hand again.
Scott?
No.
No?
Nope.
Mike? No?
Nope.
Tracy?
A little bit later.
Anybody else?
You can guess.
Eisenhower. Who
There you
said
go.
Eisenhower?
Eisenhower.
It's Eisenhower.
Eisenhower. Yes, you got it. Yes.
You got it.
Yes. So can you hand that bag over? And let's...
Oh, and this one needs lube, I know.
I'll do this. And a big shout out to Promescent, who is one of our sponsors for the lube, and thank you. One last trivia question. My sister and I had so much fun looking these up because we were like, wow, we didn't know that, and it's such a
Clearly
great.
nobody else did either.
We thought we knew a lot. Yeah. Anyways, this next question, it's our last one. It's what AIDS awareness group was formed in 1987 in New York City? Yeah, you got it. Can you hand him that over there? All right. Oh, we have one more. Do we have one more question?
We do. We got another question.
What's that?
Oh, yes. That's a good. Can you do this?
God, it's so long.
All right. Do you want me to do it?
No, I'll do
I'll
it.
read
All right. So we have one
you can
final
I
one.
can
We have
read
one
one.
final giveaway.
One more.
Okay, so the now familiar rainbow flag was first designed by Gilbert Baker in 1978 in San Francisco. The flag now has how many stripes?
Who said 6?
No, he's right.
6.
What is the answer?
It's
You
6.
don't even know it. He was right.
The
He
now,
got it.
who
Black.
now? With how many stripes does it now have?
No.
It's 8.
No, it's
6.
Oh.
You got it. Yes.
You got it.
And you're wearing. Okay.
Okay.
Oh,
so,
originally it had 8.
So listen to this little tidbit.
this is
and
this
it's
is
why-
interesting
what I'm wearing
because-
tonight.
yeah.
I didn't know this, but
So originally the flag had 8 stripes: pink, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. They represent in order sexuality, life,
pink means
healing,
sexuality. Sexuality. Which
sexuality,
is what I'm wearing.
we noticed, bitch.
The forgotten
sexuality,
color.
life, healing, sun, nature, art, harmony, and spirit.
Okay.
Then the pink color was dropped because the color was not commercially available for flag manufacturing.
Yeah, I'm not commercially available.
Not going there. So it dropped because it wasn't commercially available, and then upon the murder of Harvey Milk in 1978, the indigo stripe was dropped so that the flag could be used in a parade with an equal number of stripes, 3 per side, on each side of the parade route. So the resulting was the 6 stripes. Woo! So
I want to thank our special guest Achilles Yeldell, and please, if you can, get his book Raised by the Bar. It's a memoir. It is on Amazon, and I love it. It's your summer read. Miguel Angel Reyes, you can follow him. I'm so glad you did the show. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
DJ Lorant, you can follow him. I love your music. Thank you so much. My co-host, Jeremy Ross Lopez.
Yes.
Thank you. Steve Carpenter. Thank you.
Cheers.
Vivian
Cheers.
Mead, helping me produce this. Thank you very much. And thank you.
Cheers,
Happy
bitches.
World Pride. And Susan,
And-
thank you. Susan.
Thank you, Susan, for signing.